Hello, folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Usagi Yojimbo, The Crow by Dark Horse. Now, there is fighting, violence, killing, and chopping body parts in here. So, if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So, this is a story that came out last year. I got the first issue of it and made a video about it too. But I didn't subscribe to the series, so I only got that one issue. And I went to previews. I thought I need to order all the other ones. It just took me time to get to reading that issue. But then I saw that the trade was going to come out, so I decided, you know what? I'll just wait and read the trade. Might as well. So finally, I've got the trade, and yesterday I started reading it, and today I finished it. And as always, it is a lot of fun. Alright, let's get into it. You'll have to excuse my voice, I'm recovering from a cold. Okay, so this story takes place after the Usagi Yojimbo Ice and Snow story, where Yukichi and Usagi faced off that demon guy Usagi fought before, and the snow yokai as well. Anyway, so the story starts with they get off that mountain. Finally, Yukichi is happy. They're looking for and Usagi, they're looking for the next village. They take a short rest to remove their snow boots. And then a man on a horse approaches, or another animal approaches. That was a horse, right? Yeah, it was. Was that a horse? Wait. Do they have horses here? I'm sorry. I was just like, they ride these? They have these lizard things. No, they have horses. Okay. So yeah, a man's riding a horse. He's approaching them, and he asks, what are you doing here? And Usagi's like, well, what's that your business? They're like, what are you? I'll ask again. And Usagi said, we're just passing by, and then we're leaving. That's it. And he's like, okay, you do that. So they keep going a little further, and then they hear clashing swords. Mainly Yukichi runs to see what's going on, and they arrive, and the man, before that, they see a crow flying crazily around. Before that, they go to, before that. Then they see a man is fighting off a bunch of what appears to be bandits. Yukichi immediately wants to help him, but Usagi's like, wait, Yukichi, we don't know what's going on. But it's like, too late, Yukichi already went in there, and Usagi's like, don't kill him unless you have to. So they fight off the men, and they help this guy, who says his name is Jimu, and that his crow's name is Yagatosari. I'm probably butchering it, I'm sorry. Something like that, and he rescued him a few years ago. He was frozen to a tree during winter. He nursed him back to health, and since then, they've been taking care of each other. So he thanks them for saving him, and they ask him where's the nearest village, and he says it's like 4 rai from here, which is about 20-something miles. So they go, they keep going, they reach this village, but it's full of all these unsavory characters that they're not sure about. But then they go into an inn, because they're both very hungry. And they see the 4 guys that they fought off, and the men are like, look, we don't want any trouble. And Usagi's like, then you'll get out. And he's like, maybe they're not bandits after all, if they're allowed in the inn and they can walk freely. And so when he yells long ears, and Usagi turns around, it's a rhino named Gen, which Usagi knows. And then there's another gentleman who's based off a dog, and he's called Stray Dog. They're like, hey, come on over. It's like, oh, well, what if we joined you? And Stray Dog's like, nah, let them have their own table. We're not paying for their food. And then Yukichi's, for that they have introductions, and Yukichi's like, oh, nice to meet you for the first time. The word you say. And Yukichi blurts out, oh, we'll be happy to pay for the meal for Usagi's friends. And then the innkeeper comes down. He's like, oh, wonderful. They've been here for a week. They owe me a lot of money. And Usagi's looking back at Yukichi. He's like, oh, shit. So they're like, Usagi's like, all right, we might as well make the most of it. So they sit down. The innkeeper brings more food, sake, tea. And then Gen and Stray Dog tell them that they're in this town to hunt this very infamous bandit who's terrorizing this area. And there's a big prize on his head. So they're asking, oh, why don't you join us? And then what's his... And they tell him his name is Jimu and he has a crow. And Yukichi's like, oh, that's the man we rescued. And so, yeah, Usagi was right. You don't know what's going on. And then they're like, oh, shit, you found him. Everyone's here. There's so many bounty hunters here. They're all looking for him. And then Yukichi's like, well, it's a good thing we saved him, right? Because you want to capture him. And anyway, the gist of it is that they offer Usagi and Yukichi to join them. And then Yukichi gets all, I think the word is indignated. Righteous about, like, how can you do this? You're samurai. How can you become bandits? And then, or not bandits, sorry, bounty hunters. And then they're like, hey, listen, we gotta survive, right? And the Stray Dog yells at him, you're either... No, that's before. So yeah, the Yukichi basically storms off after that. He's like, you can go, I don't want any part in this. And he leaves. And then Stray Dog says then he's either naive or stupid. Or arrogant. And Stray Dog says that. And then Stray Dog responds, I think he's both. And then Usagi said, he's grew up sheltered in a school of sword, of learning how to fight with swords. So yes, he is sheltered. And then I think it was Gen said, well, he's not about, he's not gonna be that way for very long. And then we continue, because there's all the 5 parts in here. Yukichi's walking around, thinking of, he was too brash, and I shouldn't have insulted Usagi's friends like that. Excuse me. And yeah, he can't understand that, but still, he should go back and apologize. So he's starting to make his way back. But as he's heading there, he hears someone's yelling, ow, mister, help me, please. It's a little boy. The little boy yells, I broke my leg. So Yukichi approaches him, starts checking his leg, and like, hey, it's not broken. And the kid throws mud in his face. And then a bunch of members of a gang of bounty hunters surround him. And he's trying to fight them off. And then the kid's also, hey, I distracted him. You promised to pay me. And then, yeah, Yukichi's trying to fight them off, but then the kid grabs him to distract him, and one of the bandits knocks him out. And that's it. I guess kind of, not the leader, but one of them, big fella, goes and searches Yukichi and steals his gold. And then they're like, okay, let's take him to the boss. And the kid's like, hey, what about my payment? You promised to pay me. And the guy's like, get out of here, little kid. I'm not paying you anything. And also the kid insults him, calls him ugly and stupid. But anyway, kiddo runs away. And Yukichi's taken to an abandoned temple where the guy that they've seen earlier is at. He's the boss. So he's called Inu Inuashi, something like that. And he is a samurai that Usagi has met before. And because Yukichi knows Usagi, he's not going to kill him. Basically, what he wants to do, he wants to make Usagi, Gen, and Stray Dog leave because he wants less competition for the capturing of Jimu. That's the thing. And so he's going to. And then Yukichi starts yelling at him too, like, how can you do this? The samurai sword is his soul. He pisses him off so badly that he breaks off Yukichi's sword, one of his swords. And then he sends a couple of his gang, and they go to. Meanwhile, again, and Stray Dog and Usagi are there, and Usagi starts to get worried about Yukichi. They're still in the inn. They're like, okay, I'm gonna look for him. And then the gang members arrive, and they give him Yukichi's sword. Sorry. And then they tell them what their boss wants. Now, meanwhile, in between this, you see a lot of merchants, a lot of goods are being brought in. So there's a lot of men carrying them, and there are a lot of guards. And Jimmy wants to get those goods, and he has this whole plan. You can see why he's dangerous. He's very clever. So they have to cross like this path on a mountain, and the plan is they get them stuck between on the path by having big trees fall on both sides, and they're trapped. And then the gang members jump out and they kill them all. Only 2 carriers of the goods manage to survive. I have to say, oh, we're best friends and everything, but then one said, oh, by the way, I'm having an affair with your wife. So anyway, then they both jump. And they're like, are they crazy? Now, meanwhile, all this is being seen by 2 of the bounty hunters that work with Inuyasha. So they're like, okay, I'm going to go back and report to the boss. You follow them and see where they're staying. Now then, Usagi gets the message about Yukichi. Is like, we got to go find Yukichi and get in the Stray Dog go with her. But they're like, how are you going to do that? There's so many places. This town is big. And then the little kid, Isamu, I think his name is. I'm just going to call him a kid. The little kid arrives and says, I know where you can find him if you pay me. So they take the kid to eat. That was one of his, part of the deal. And then Usagi gives him a gold coin. And he says, well, he's in this abandoned temple. You go there, you will find him. Also, this conversation, they ask, little kid asks, why do you want to find him so badly? And Usagi says, well, Yukichi is my friend, and he's also my cousin. We're family. Family, you need to stay together. And the kid's all sad. He said, I wish I had a family. And the Stray Dog's like, where are your parents, kid? And the kid bursts out, they're dead. Honestly, some people ask really stupid questions. He gets all upset about it. Obviously. Poor little guy's been living on his own for quite a while, it seems. So that's it. He then gets up, but Gen stops him and like, listen, you're going to lead us to that temple before you go anywhere. Well, that's it. We move on. Yukichi, not Yukichi, meanwhile, back there too, one of that goon that stole Yukichi's purse is not happy with things. He wants to be the new boss. Because he keeps telling him, look, just kill him. to Inuyasha, and that's it. Less competition. And Inuyasha's like, no, I gave my word that if Usagi and his two other bounty hunter friends stay away, I'm not going to kill you. Not going to kill him. Anyway, Usagi goes along with sorry, goes along with the kid to the abandoned temple, and they're talking. And the kid say, "Oh, I actually helped capture him." And Usagi's all angry, like, "You did what?" The kid's like, "Well, I didn't know it was him at the time." I mean, to be fair, Usagi can't be mad. The kid doesn't know loyalties, after all. And then Usagi's like, "Yes, right, you're right. I'm sorry I was so rough with you." And he's like, "It's okay. I've had worse." And they keep going. There is the lookout that has fallen asleep, like somewhere on the path. One of the other members came to replace him, take a shift, and then they see those two, but then they are sorry, excuse me. But then they are hit from behind by Gen and Stray Dog. Then Gen and Stray Dog approach Usagi and the kid. Usagi tells the kid, "Listen, you're gonna go now back to town and stay safe there. You hear, don't go with us. It's dangerous. I don't want you to get hurt." And the kid is touched by that. Anyway, Usagi and the others go to the temple. Meanwhile, at the temple, again, like, what are we going to do? And suddenly in bursts Usagi, Stray Dog, and Gen. Usagi releases Yokichi with a sword, and now there's four of them against all of the bandits. Inuyasha calls to Usagi, "Usagi, you've done me a favor once. I don't want to hurt you, just leave it. A lot of these men here with me are not as skilled. But there's no escape for you, there's more of us." And Usagi's like, "It doesn't mean we're not going to fight." But then one of his men comes back and tells him, "Hey, we've seen Get in action, him and the other man, and he's a lot more clever and skilled than we thought. We're going to need more people, because he also has a lot more men than we thought." So then Inuyasha's like, "You know what, why don't you join us then, and we'll split the prize." And I'm like, "Okay, let's do that." But then, yeah, then it's agreed upon. And then Yukichi's like, patting his front and like, and Usagi asks, "What's wrong?" I said, "Oh, my wallet's gone." And Inuyasha's all angry, like, turns, "Who stole his wallet?" And then it's, of course, that big guy from before. And he's like, "Of course." Oh, right. Before that, way before that, Yukichi saved Inuyasha because before that, the big guy had a conversation, said, "I should be the new boss," and he attacked Inuyasha, but Yukichi warned him. Anyway, Inuyasha's tired of this guy, so he kills him, takes back the purse, and gives it to Yukichi. And also, he gives Yukichi the man's sword, because he's not going to need it, but you will. And then the other man arrives and tells them where Jimu and his men are. Then we move on to them going. They kill off the lookouts. Again, Stray Dog and Yukichi kill off 3 lookouts. Then they all get closer. They all need to get in position. They're in some kind of like a hut out there. One man goes off to pee, and then this was cool. Like, like, he opens his kimono, not kimono. He opens his clothes. He's about to start peeing, and then he actually just chops his head off. And it just falls, and you see like the pee go up, and like, man, what a way to die. Woken up from sleep to go take a piss, and that's it, your head chopped off. Poor bastard. Anyway, and then he calls his men and says, okay, come on, set off all this. We're going to smoke them out, and it'll be easier to fight them. Unfortunately for them, Jimu's. Anyway, Jimu is the name of the first lord of their country. This guy named himself after that, and that lord also had a raven that was faithful. Anyway, yeah, the raven starts cawing, is warning, and Jimmy wakes up and tells his men, and they all go out, and then the fight breaks out. And everyone is fighting, they're killing each other. Usagi and Stray Dog and Yukisha are like, oh shit, we're not in position yet. But anyway, they go, people are killing each other. Now, the kid didn't listen, and he did follow them, and he's watching the fight above from the trees. Which is, by the way, how he discovered where the gang members took Yukichi. Because I guess he followed them to find out out of curiosity. Anyway, yes, they're fighting, men are being killed. Jimu realizes he's going to have to sacrifice his gang and run away, because this is useless. He runs out of there, but Inuyasha and Kichi are right behind him. Meanwhile, the fight finally dies down. Gen says that he's exhausted, and like they don't know what's going on. It's like, where's Jimu? And then the kid yells at them from above. They went over there after that big samurai in Yukichi. So they go after them. Meanwhile, Inuyasha reaches up to Jimu, and they start fighting. It's like, that's it, I'm going to kill you. And he says, oh, you're now a bounty hunter. But then Inuyasha tells him, well, at least you know I'm not a band-aid like you. And so they fight, he gets angry, and then the crow tries to help his master, but he tried to claw out Inuyasha's eyes, but then Inuyasha kills him. And Jimu flies into a rage and said, you killed my companion, and he shoves his sword in his chest. Or, did he shove the sword? I know, he hit him, he's like, I'm going to finish you off. But before he can, Yukichi strikes him from behind. And that is it, Jimu is dead. Then Yukichi quickly goes up to Inuyasha, he's like, Inuyasha, just hold on, you'll make it. And then he said, nah, I can feel life leaving me, kid. Here, I want you to do something for me. I want you to have my sword. It's a very good sword, like it passed along the family. And at that time, also, Usagi and Gen and Stray Dog arrived too. So the Stray Dog, not Stray Dog, Yukichi said, I can't take this from you. But he said, no, you're more deserving of it than I ever was. And he's holding it, but then when he goes again to say something to Inuyasha, that's it, he's already dead. Sadly. And Usagi says, Inuyasha was a man that, lived by his own rules. And that's it, and then again, then Stray Dog said, well, that's it then. None of the gang followed us, so I'm guessing we're the only ones left, so we get the bounty money. And Yukichi again says, you can take, whatever half is mine. And Stray Dog says, well, even better, more money for us. And then Usagi bursts out, and he's like, how can you be so cold, Stray Dog? How can you, is this all you care about? And he's like, you know what? That's it. Like, get away from me. I don't want to see you. But Stray Dog's like, this is how life is. No one cares about anyone. The only you can only depend on yourself, and you can only take care of yourself. And you just see Usagi turning away, and Yukichi's holding, like sitting next to Ishii's body. Then we go to a few months later. We see a big house. There's a lady dusting, not dusting, sweeping the floor. A bunch of children are playing. There's one kid who has a pineapple, which would there have been pineapples in this time period? It's like supposed to be Edo Japan period. Would they have brought pineapples there? I wonder. Anyway, yeah, and then suddenly it's like, hello, he calls the lady Motoro names. He calls the lady, and it's Stray Dog. And she's like, "Oh, Stray Dog!" And look, children, and they're like, "Uncle Stray Dog is here," and they all run up to him, hugging him and everything. And the lady says, "Oh, go bring some tea for our guests." And the kids are like, "Oh, did you bring us something?" And she's like, "Children, don't be rude." So then he goes to her and he says, "Well, now that I have someone for you to meet." And who's with him? The kid. He brought the kid along with him. And he introduces the kid to them. He said, "This is his name." And he said, "Oh, we always have room for one more." So the kids are like, hey, they're like, "Hello, welcome." And then he starts playing with them. And then and then Stray Dog, it goes and it approaches the lady. He said, "Well, looks like he's gonna fit right in." He starts playing with the kids, and then he takes out a big purse of gold coins and gives it to the lady. He said, "Oh, this is going to last us for many, many months. You've always been so kind to our orphanage." And he's like, "Oh, you know what I always say, we've got to take care of each other." And she says, "Oh, yes, I've always heard you say that." And he also tells her, "Oh, I come back in a few months, there'll be more, another purse full of gold coins." And that is it. That's where the story ends. Whew. Okay, now the cover. This is, by the way, the same cover for issue 5. It's quite cool. You got Usagi looking all ready for battle, and then you got the big crow behind him. Let me show you a few of the first pages. You see, that's Ishii now. And Usagi thought he recognized him, but he wasn't sure. Apparently, it was right. He knew him. Oh, shit. Shit. 1 second. Sorry about that. There's a cut there. So yeah, this is the art. You see, this is the Yojimbo guy helping them. Yeah, they're helping him. So yeah, I'm sure Betty knows that's Sakai's art. It's always very nice and good coloring as well. As always, this has been really a great read. A lot of action, fighting, death, and a nice little end there with the kid. It's interesting how Gen operates, but I guess I understand. He can't really show his kind heart when he's bounty hunting. But it's not like he's saving up the money to live up the life of drinking, gambling, or something. He's bringing it for all of these children, so they're lost. So at least they have a place where they're taken care of and have a better life. And here, even they brought the kid with them. So that was a really lovely end there. I'm really glad I got this one and read it. I really do love these Usagi Yojimbo stories. Alright, folks, so that is it. This was The Crow. Let me know what you thought about it. And remember, collect what you're passionate about, share it on YouTube. Bye!